extra, extra. Read all about it. By now, you guys have all probably mostly heard of it. And when I originally posted this when I read it, I will admit that I was one of those type of people that truly, I mean truly, did laugh my ass off. Hackers that live in the shadows take their first strike, successfully obtaining all the information of the government officials and their friends and family. I believe you should always be biased in reporting, regardless of your feeling. But I must say, when it comes to this story, the reason why it's so laughable is for years, and I mean for years, there's been a lot of people who have been developing, web designing, and even internet security developments that have been telling the government over and over, your databases are weak. We need to update them. You need to go to any. But they never ever wanted to listen. Not once did they ever wanted to listen. They basically get all huffy puffy like, don't tell us how to do our job. But they knew that their systems were outdated. They knew that there may be a chance that people can get into and mess with their stuff. But still, being the government that they are, they just didn't want to listen. Why? I have no clue. I just guess the government's just very stubborn. This is one of those, this story right here proves what I've been saying, that one, the government is completely out of touch with what's user and what's coming today, and are so far behind the times they don't even really know what's going on, how to connect with the people of America. Two, when it comes to technology, they are completely clueless. And me being an American citizen, I can say this proudly. Believe me, I can. So let's go ahead and dive right into the report. I want to get some accusing. Most of the report you'll see, it's on the blog, so you can see it there yourself. And you can read along the story with you. But here's some key things. U.S. hacking a government computer exposed about 2.5 million people. Catherine Aminian's the director of the Office of Personnel Management's right. A hearing before the House of the Oversight of the Government Reform Committee last month in July 2015. And here's what they were elaborating. The Obama administration on Thursday revealed that 21.5 million people were swept up in the collision of a data breach of the government computer systems, as far more than damaging initially thought. The result of the theft was drove of personnel's information, including social security card numbers and some fingerprints. I've always said, doesn't matter how freaking rich you are or how much money you have, knowledge, and I'll say this again, knowledge is true power. You can be broke as hell and everything, but if you have knowledge and the right amount of knowledge, that is more valuable than any paper dollar bill that can ever come around. Even on your your personnel and their authorities and where they are and where they be. That's knowledge. Knowledge is the true, you didn't mean, victor of anything, can surpass anything. Not money, knowledge. And the right knowledge can get you far. This is Common Sense 101. Well, yeah, get back to the story. Every person given in the... Okay, going back to the story, it says, for every person that was given a government background check in the last 15 years was probably affected, and the data was stolen and taken over from. The Office Personnel Management has announced that the result of the forensic investigation of episode whose incident was known but not sweeping toll. So they knew the person something was around the computer, but they just kind of ignored it. They didn't think of the toll of it was around. So, wait a minute. Let's think about that through. So you knew someone was in your computer systems, and you decide to go ahead and ignore it? Huh. Where in the hell did that come up to be the okay solution in doing and dealing with things? Huh. Wow. So, not just that was just taken out of those people who were anyone who had a background check over the last 15 years. The agency hackers stole sensitive information, including the health, the financial history, and the private details from 19.7 million people who had been subject to government background checks, as well as 1.8 million others, including their spouses and friends. The theft was separate from, but related to, the breach revealing the last month, compromising the personnel data of 4.2 million federal employees, officials said. Both attacks believed to originate in China, although the senior administration official on Thursday declines to pinpoint the perpetrator. I hate my dyslexia. Declines to pinpoint who exactly did it. In other words, the perpetrator. Yeah, there you go. The perpetrator. There you go. Except to say that they had incidents that the same actor arrived They said the same in this incident had the same actor carried out 2 attacks. So let's think about that. On Thursday, declined to pinpoint the portrayer, except that they had the incident of the same actor carried out the 2 hacks. Does it make it suggest to believe what, or more than what they're trying to say right there? Both attacks are believed to originate in China, but they said they're not. The breaches in the Constitution are apparently the largest of the cyber attacks into the systems of the United States government, providing a frightening glimpse of technology vulnerabilities in the federal agencies in handling sensitive information. Like I said, they've been warned millions and millions of times about this. They didn't listen. But why is it every time the government sees it actually happening, they don't take preventive causes, they let it happen? Only then do they seem to actually do anything. What is it they're doing? Like wishing upon a star that it would just come and fix itself? Amateurs. They also seem to be certainly intensified debate of the Washington over what government must do and to address the potential weaknesses of cybersecurity, along with the subject warnings of some acts upon agencies, Congresses, or White House. Well, let me put this out. Duh. When it comes to cybersecurity of the White House, I mean, you're not going to outsource, right? You're going to try to go within your own government patriot things, because, you know, the ideal is that the patriotism of the country would not want to harm the United States or, you know, sell out the United States. They kind of like got to live here too. So they're not going to go ahead and try to, you know, screw you out. You can't always go outsource for everything. Just saying. Well, let's go back to what's going on there. So in the White House, they start having an uproar. This incident we're talking about today is unfortunate without the president, said Michael Timothy, the White House cybersecurity coordinator. We are at rise of levels of cybersecurity of both private sectors and public sectors. In the conference, the details of finding the agency's response was Kathleen Rhodes, the head of the Director of Personnel Management. She would resign despite the calls of the members of Congress of both parties of her dismissal. She will not resign, she said. She will not resign despite of the members of Congress of her dismissal. I am committed to working and doing at the OMPM. He said, we are working very hard, and not only as the OMP across the government to ensure the cybersecurity of all systems, I will continue to do so. She announced that the security measures would be installed and agencies will feel free credit, identifying, monitoring, and victim breaches, although she said there was no information of the suggested. She said there was no information at this time suggesting that any of the misuse or further dismissions of the information that was stolen from the OPM system. Even so, the official security acknowledged the seriousness of the intrusion. And like we've been telling them forever since the day, that you probably want to go ahead and install authorization codes that go ahead and make sure that you hit you back and let you know if someone's messing with your stuff. Kind of like how we do with Google and writing and things. We've been telling them. They don't listen. Even so, the security officials acknowledge the seriousness of the intrusion. Now they do. Before the scope of the public on Thursday, James Jr., director of the FBI, breach. This is a very big deal. Like we've been saying, there is nothing that the information obtained, including people's addresses, details of their neighbor, friends, and relatives, and travel destination outside the United States, any of the foreign that they have come in contact with. All right. All this information may seem useless, right? I mean, oh, that's just a bunch of miscellaneous junk information, right? Just family of their friends, where they live, any destinations where they hang out, what foreigners they hang out, talk with, all the other things. This seems completely useless, right? In that they're government officials. You probably think so? No. In the right hands, this type of information is no way, by far, in any type of way, useless. In fact, it's actually quite very useful, and it can actually attain your target's habits, what they do, what they don't do, in a psychology level, and also know their whereabouts and what they're up to, and even an easy way to scope them out if you needed to. That's just basic psychology. This would say, before a person goes ahead and goes out to, an old ancient saying would say, to know my enemy is to know myself, but to know myself is to know the way. So therefore, I will not treat others as I would if it treat myself. I must go out of my way, you know what I mean, to learn of beyond thyself, you know what I mean, to learn my enemy's true path. Washing away. So, there is a treasure and trove of information of everyone who ever worked for and who tried to work for the United States government. It was all taken away and stolen, says Mr. Convery in the area briefing. Just imagine that you are an intelligence service and you had that data. How would that be useful to you? The administration officials said that personnel officers are monitoring this computerized system that is the first detected the breach. In April, an agencies, the Department of Homeland Security, that it had found an intrusion, and the department and the work of the FBI learned more and said Andy Osterman, a top cybersecurity official, Homeland Security, that the inquiry revealed that the intruder had broken into a network at the Interior Department's held a personal office database, leading the theft of records of 4.2 million current former federal employees, and also found that they had been a computer intrusion of a personnel office themselves, leading to a larger trove of background checks and records. Misorganizing hackers to gain access to the computer and be critical of a contractor, and there being a touch of a scramble of a federal officials, a booster of security networks. Tony Avgoni, a chief of office agency, was racing the improvements into basic tools of a factor authentication of acquiring someone with a password of a system to use a second password and recognition of the computer. This work all across the agencies, the federal government, will make sure that the enhancement of cybersecurity profile use of government as a whole, and the efforts of becoming most after 2 decades of warnings. See, disgusted. This effort was almost coming after 2 decades, which is 20 years of warnings of the government auditors, running investigation of the vulnerabilities of the federal agency networks. And yet, those who are Google developers or us in here on the cybersecurity or in social media, we have it where we have it set up with anything, even our Facebook or anything, that if a person even has your password, it wouldn't do them no damn good, because they do the fact that you have a second authorization code. It's sent already to you, whatever which way you want to send it to you, of a warning and the only thing, and you have to enter an authorization code on top of that. So it doesn't even matter. If without that authorization code, there's no way another person, even if they have your password, is even getting it. Hello, America. La 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 la. There's still much needed to be directing their systems as the government and Director of Security Issues of Government Accountability Office, and conducting the cyber audits, which is conducting the cyber audits of the most 2 decades, 20 years. Warning from the auditors and our serious vulnerabilities are often ignored by the agency officials. This has been an recurring theme. They have been taking and correcting actions, and they have been going back to check when we find out that they haven't. The revealing quickly prompts calls for a misadministration whose agency warned of the serious reports since 2007 about the many vulnerabilities in antiquated computer systems. Representative Jason Chaffee, the Republican of Utah and chairman of the House of Oversight of Government Reforms and Committees, said that Ms. Junior and her top technology officials should resign and be removed. Their negligence is a personal sensitivity of information of 21.5 million Americans into the hands of adversaries. Such incompetence is unexcusable. The criticism of the bacterialism of Senator Warner, Democrat of Virginia, called the miscreants a step down. The technology of security fails at the office personnel management, penetrates the director terms. But Director Agency's slow and uneven response has not inspired the confidence that she has the right person to manage the OPM through this crisis, Mr. Warner says in the statement. Well, duh. The attackers were able to compromise the agency using contractor credentials is unacceptable. So, as you can see, The hackers were able to get contractor credentials easily as 1 through 3.5. And seriously, it is that really super easy to get it. I just stumbled upon it barely last night. If you wanted to. That's so sad. The security experts say. So not only did they get the credentials from that credentials, they got all the information that they wanted to need, and on top of that, they were able to spend the time and do backup checks about within a few seconds. Okay, this is security experts say, given to the wide availability of the two-factor authentication codes, which have become standard practice. Now, we do it all the time now. Particularly since the cyber attack of Target nearly about 2 years ago, when hackers managed to break into the retailer systems using credentials of heating and cooling correctors. The second offense is more unacceptable. The second offense is more acceptable than the first, said Mashini, the chief of executive prodigy of data security company. The fact that they were able to do it once, but twice, to telling him, hello, go ahead. The OPM and the government agencies need to get their act together and better protect the information of their employees and citizens. Michael Senior Michael Spinney, community reporting from Washington and Eureka Sacrifice. All right. Now that you heard the report of this, and you can see I'm really completely biased with this. Citizens of America, please understand. Do not entrust the government to protect your vital information and your key information. You yourself should be the one who's protecting your information and what you put out there and what you don't. As well, making sure you do security parameters to go, making sure that no one else can take your profiles or your information. You can do that easily with social media when you go to the settings, being Facebook, Google, or even YouTube or anything where you have it authenticated, where it has to send you a secondary authorization code, which is very easy to do, a very simple step. And it can either send it to you via by phone, your emails, or anything on top of that way. That no matter who has your information or what, even if you have your password, they are not able to access your information, none whatsoever, leaving a second security over, the hackers. The idea originated from those of the base codes, when people who have to get on to the blue systems of the computers. I already know and realize that you need to get onto the operating system itself. You need to be able to hack behind it to get in, so you can hack a little bit codes. But the idea came from, if you can go ahead and put an authorization code before the system even boots up. This is what I'm talking about, before the software itself, before the software can even load up to the little Windows CE program. I'm talking about the first thing you turn in the beep and you see the pause. That software, that's what I'm talking about. The original blue codes, or as they say, as they're putting it, their version of the OPM, Operating Manager Systems. By simply putting a code on that one, it gives you a second authorization that no matter what the password is, you have to have that password on top along with it, keeping hackers, one, out, and two, having a second password is keeping it in. So that way you can unauthorize anyone who's trying to hack anything instantly and quickly. If we have Google developers are able to convey and make something that so quickly in real time, saying, I do not understand why the government can't even jump aboard and understand what's really going on and how to operate their systems. If they would stop being so malicious, outdated, narrow-minded, and wanting to conquer everything that they see, and for once open up their mind and realize that there's more than things just to try to prosperity of our own country and still trying to be divided to the benevolence of never existing. You can actually see and learn what people are actually doing these days. This story infiltrates the key essential and the importance of knowledge and the ability of having that knowledge and how that can really infiltrate and utilize as well be your one defense that comes with everything being completely digital. And on top of that, just because things are digital, I advise you, America, to always keep hard copies of all your stuff. It's the only way to prove anything if the whole computer were to just think that you are what you are and you have what you are. Think of it as your life on paper. You must always have your hard documents in a safe, secure location. And let's see with that. Oh. I hope you like the story of everything, and there are more different ways. Hackers live in the shadows. It takes their first strike successfully obtaining information of the government officials and their friends and family. You as America, you need to take precautions in yourself. And if you are not very legal savvy and you don't know nothing about legal things, don't worry. Here in California, I'm going to be ahead and be launching a product that's been looking and it's been legitimately recognized through legislation nationwide. All right, an insurance that provides legal insurance and identity theft insurance to all American citizens nationwide. All right, you're going to be seeing me launching that new prospect. Will be under Harvard Risk Management, so everything. That's the corporation we're going to, and I'll be launching a video about what we do. But we're really trying to promote and launch this insurance product that we know that Americans really have been demanding and needing, as well, not cutting corners or not so much worried about price. For once in your life, you can get top line security and top line legal defense with the top line of the lawyers of your state without having to worry about the price behind it. You know what I mean? Because it's just wrong that to prove your innocence, you have to have the finance to do so. This totally tips that over, giving anyone in the average Joe, from the middle class to the lower class, that you're proving that the statement of saying you're only innocent until you're broke. That's not how the jurisdiction should be done. If you adequately intelligent enough to defend yourself and prove your face and have your proof and evidence to prove, regardless of what bullshitters say, you should be able to do so. So therefore, they have funding in mind and they've been in the company for a while, and I'll be go ahead and talking about that soon and posting that soon. So have a great day. I hope this was very intuitive, and this is showing you that when it comes to money versus knowledge, knowledge wins. So protect yourself, America, and take care.